I think the biggest trend in the U.S. right now is to rethink the whole mix of what should go offshore and what should be onshore. Or for the U.S. market, we have a large area we call near shores. That would be perhaps Mexico, the Caribbean, parts of Central America. And we're seeing that in this right shoring concept, companies are saying, well, maybe we should bring back onshore our most important customer support. We should bring back sensitive issues. For example, baggage claim support should really be onshore, speaking to someone in the States rather than having it offshore in some other country. We should bring back on board a lot of the business support. So a lot of B2B is coming back onshore or in the nearshore areas. What's going offshore or staying offshore would be some of the simpler applications, shorter questions that might be eventually automated, but in the meantime do require an agent support. We see web chat staying offshore quite often in India, sometimes in the Philippines as well. Back office support is largely an offshore domain just because of the cost and the process attention that works very well in the offshore community. It's happening in a big way, and of course everything started with the phone channel, and then we added email back in the 1990s, and then eventually, of course, the internet and web chat with that. But now we're seeing a virtual explosion of different channel types, and both from customer demand and from the flexibility that those different channels provide. So for example, we're seeing the beginning of two-way text messaging, which allows customers to receive a text message, an alert, an information source, and then they text back, and the company receives that text in their call centers on the screen as if it were an email, let's say. Agent responds back and goes back in the SMS format. The key thing about it that a lot of companies have not done as good a job yet as they should is to make sure that those different channels marry up. So that if I am on your website and have a web chat session and then an hour later call you up and a few hours later email you, that's not a good situation anyway, but it's really important for the organization to know that I have done those three things and to tie them together and not see them as separate interactions. Companies are moving in that direction, but to make it, well, the new term is omni-channel. So the idea is have any channel you want to be able to access us, and we will know that you have accessed us in these various channels. One of the areas that we're most excited about in terms of the new technologies and new channels is the ability to have what's sometimes called video chat on the website. So if a customer is stuck on what sometimes is called a high value page, so it could be a very expensive item that might be interested in purchasing on an e-com site, or it might be a checkout page, or it might be a product comparison page, it might be some sort of a sign-up page for like a new service. Then a little window pops up on the customer screen without them having to download any new application, and then what the customer sees is actually the real video of a customer service rep, headset on and everything, ready to support them on a visual basis, almost like a Skype or a FaceTime type video within the system. And the advantage there, among other things, is that the company, the customer service rep, will know where I've been as a customer on the website and can have a conversation that's actually situationally relevant, situationally smart. Not just saying, hey, how can I help you? But rather, hey, I see you're on this page and you've been on the website for about 20 or 30 minutes now. I'd like to see if we can help you. Are you looking to buy this or you're looking to change that? And that's a nice combination effect of having the web log information be provided to the customer service rep and then have a little video channel open up to have that conversation with each other. We see now that the definition of social media splitting into two camps, and so the pure social media might be Facebook, Twitter based interactions, and the other side that sometimes is called social media we like to call community. So community would be forums that are either public forums or they might be forums that a company or a consortium of companies set up as a way for customers to interact with each other. We're seeing much more success and much more exciting news in the community side than in the social side, meaning Facebook and Twitter, you need to have them, you need to be engaged with customers when they come on to your Facebook site or when they post something on Twitter about you or against you. Yeah, that needs to be done well. But the real movement, the real exciting stuff we're seeing is actually on community, where there are literally thousands of forums around the world, some of them very specialized, some of them quite broad, and customers are actively in there asking for advice, providing information to other customers, sometimes inviting the company to join, sometimes not wanting the company to join, but it's important for companies to figure out what's going on in those forums, because it could be good information for them to take back to improve processes. It could be misguided information going back and forth that needs to be somehow changed or modified so that customers don't work up a head of steam and say, oh, this is a really bad product, or this service doesn't work well, or I heard from my friends that this doesn't work well, and have the forums almost become a better place to share information. So it's the two are growing. We see companies quite successful in both, and some in one or the other. An example of a company doing well in both would be DirecTV, which is a satellite provider of television services like Foxtel in Australia and the Sky system around the world. And they have a very active social media team in one of their contact centers that looks at a wide variety of customer forums, including competitor forums that are open forums. These are ones that anybody can take a look at. And they analyze the content of that and discern trends on the community forums. They also look at and mine for value postings on their Facebook site and in Twitter, and they respond very quickly to any Twitter postings, any tweets that are out there about their company. But it's a good, they've done a good job, and they've actually been involved in a number of social conferences talking about what they've done, and I think they're to be held up as a good example. I think the other hot area, which has always been hot, but now it's like especially hot, is the idea of having centralized customer databases that span all these different channels and span the relationship that you've had with customers over time, so that there is this recognition of who the customer is, recognizing their value, providing specialized, personalized offers for them that may come back to them in a different channel than they usually use, but it recognizes the importance or the purchasing power of that customer over time. These centralized customer databases have been around in concept for a while. Some companies have them to some extent. Other companies are still trying to figure out how to pull all of these different data sources into one. So that's another area that's very hot going on right now. The other one would be looking at the proliferation of knowledge sharing tools. So this is a slight twist on the question of what's hot, but what we're finding is that customers that do share on the social sites and on the forums have a lot of great information, and pulling that information from the customer community into the company's own knowledge base and making it available to the customer service reps so they can in turn help other customers is a really valuable tool, very agile capability. So we're seeing applications of wiki technologies and other types of technologies that pull this from the forums and bring it in place of the customers. So an example there would be Apple. That's done a very good job. If you search today on apple.com for almost any topic, you'll have a choice of whether you want to search in the community forums or in the Apple knowledge base, or if you want to maybe speak to someone in Apple itself. And what's nice is that the Apple knowledge base is actually being populated constantly from the communities. So even if you pick Apple knowledge base, it has a lot of infused information from the communities. So they're providing that as an option to their customers, and then they're seeing where their customers want to go for that information, and that helps them to improve the content.